Have your headlights ever looked like this, where they're faded and it looks like they need to be replaced? Well, I found an easy way to clean them, and where they'll look brand new. And here's a few sets I've done before. Here are my Porsche ones. The one on the left I cleaned, the one on the right I didn't. Now here's both of them that are cleaned. And then here's another set. One on the left I cleaned, the one on the right I didn't. And then here's both of them cleaned. So when you go to the store, there's a lot of different products to choose from. I'm sure a lot of them work great. I don't know which ones work the best, but this is what I use. I use this little buffer that hooks up to the air compressor, and I'll use 600 grit sandpaper, and then I'll use 800 grit, and then 3000 grit. And if you don't have an air compressor, these will hook up to a drill. So don't feel lost if you don't. But here's what I have to work with. And these headlights look awful. They're very dirty. And a lot of this is caused by, they say, UV rays. And yeah, you can see this one. There's a lot of scratches on it, and we'll get all of that off. So here's the first step. Go pop open your hood. And then you're going to need to wipe down your headlights, and then you're going to have to tape it off. Now you're going to tape off the bumper wherever the headlight meets the paint or the plastic. I raise the hood, this way I don't have to tape up the hood. And then we'll take the mini buffer. I like to use this little foam pad, and then the 600 grit sandpaper. And first thing I like to do is I like to wet the headlights, and then I just very lightly begin to sand the headlight. I'm not pushing with any pressure, I'm just very lightly, and when the headlight starts to dry out, I put more water on it. You want to keep a lot of water on that headlight. And once you're done with the 600 grit, you'll take it off, set it aside, and move on to the 800 grit. And then we will wet the headlight again, and then we'll start sanding. And just once again, don't push down with any pressure, just very lightly sand the headlight, and you'll start to notice the headlight starting to become a little more clear. And then once you're done with the 800 grit, you'll take it off, set it aside, and move on to the 3000 grit. And we'll wet the headlight, and we'll start to sand that headlight again. And this process works with a drill as well, so you don't need to have the air compressor and the mini buffer. So if all you have is a cordless drill, you can use that as well. Then once you're done with that, take the 3000 grit and the foam pad off, set it aside. Now you can use this foam pad. I like to use this buffing pad. And I'll use this lens polish protector made by 3M. I'll put a little bit of that on. And then without turning the air compressor on, I like to just dab the lens protector polish on, and then I'll plug in the air hose, and then I'll start to polish the headlight. And you'll notice it starts to become very clear. And then I also like to use a polishing cloth to get some of the corners and everything and rub down the headlight. And then once it's done, you can take the tape off, give it a wipe, and take a look at it. It looks so much better, and now you don't need to replace the headlight, so it saves a ton of money. It's really worth doing. Now you might actually be able to see out that headlight at night. And then we'll move on to the next headlight, and we'll wipe it down, we'll tape it up. Now you can always lay plastic over the engine if you don't want to get any of the overspray from the polish on it. And then we'll move on to the foam pad, and we'll reuse the 600 grit sandpaper that we used earlier. We'll wet the headlight, and we'll start to sand the headlight. And then we'll move on to the 800 grit sandpaper. And we'll wet the headlight again, and we will start sanding. Now this headlight was a lot worse than the left side, the passenger side, so this one takes a little more time sanding. And once we're done that, we'll move on to the 3000 grit sandpaper. We'll wet the headlight and start sanding again. If your headlight doesn't become totally clean on the first time, you can always redo the process, start back with the 600, 800, and then 3000. We're moving to the buffing pad, and we'll use the polish. Once again, smearing it on without the air hose, and then plugging in the air hose, and then starting to polish. Now, I have seen some people wet sand headlights and then spray on a clear coat. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I've done it before, came out okay, but this way I find works the best. And then once you're done, wipe it down with a rag, and there you go. There are your headlights. They look crystal clear. Now you don't have to buy new ones. Makes the car look a little shinier, makes it look a little newer. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. It'll keep you up to date on all my future videos. It's free to do so. You won't get any junk emails. It'll just make it easier when you're on YouTube to find my videos. And leave a comment on what you liked or what you didn't like, or what you'd like to see me work on next. Thanks again for watching.